I just have a couple of follow-up and then we'll conclude the meeting very quickly. First, I want to thank everybody for participating this evening and also my council colleagues. Just the first couple of questions. I just want to make sure. Right now, Chief Clements, you said the President Academy will graduate this November. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you said right now you could begin the process of vetting a new academy as we speak today, starting this week?
Correct.
Okay. Does the commission need to approve that process?
We've had these conversations. We're ready to move almost immediately.
Commissioner, I'm going to ask you on the record, under oath, will you commit to beginning that process?
Yes.
Thank you. So hopefully not next year when goes before the finance committee, we hear the money was used for something else. So now we'll do that process, right? Chief Clements, I just want to make sure I got it clear. You said in order to provide the type of policing, you mentioned foot patrolling, community policing, et cetera. And Councilman Deputy Majority Harris is correct. That's when I met her way back when, and it was all about that, bringing back, actually creating community policing, right? You said that to a minimum that you need at least 450 officers. Is that correct?
Correct.
Presently, you have 403. Approximately 30 of them are on IOD or military leave, which means you're down to like 370.
Approximately.
So that's
yes.
where we are right now. Okay. And so therefore, you cannot create the type of community policing. I can tell you, at least from my constituents, and I've been going through the neighborhoods also, I've been demanding, which is creating, and I'll get everybody the definition. This way I don't have to. It's called the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Community policing is about empathy. It always has, always will be. It worked back then, it can work today. And you just mentioned a second ago, where you have a constant change. You don't always have a particular officer on a particular foot patrol every time, so they can't get to know Mr. So-and-so who owns a business, Mrs. So-and-so is on the third floor. They don't get to know they don't become the fabric of the community. It's not easy because you don't have enough police officers to do that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
May I ask you this other question? Do we have a foot patrol dedicated to the pedestrian bridge in Providence?
Yes, we have a permanent detail assigned over there, yes.
Do we have a foot patrol dedicated on Pecasset Avenue,
No,
Hartford Avenue?
No.
Plainfield Street. My point is, we have foot patrol dedicated to a pedestrian bridge in downtown Providence, but we don't have enough bodies to do foot patrols in our neighborhoods. And I don't blame you, Chief. I blame the fact that we need to keep on getting the academies and have the people to do that job. That's a fact. I'm glad that the pedestrian bridge is being protected. I know there's cameras on it, both ends. I know there was a public outcry because ATV riders are going up and down the pedestrian bridge. But meanwhile, in my neck of the woods, Noonan, Connecticut Park, we all read about it. We had a family get injured because of the ATV riders. So I'm glad the pedestrian bridge is safe, but I'm not happy the fact that our neighborhoods are not. That's the reality. What I am concerned about is this. It's clearly law enforcement has been able to eradicate organized crime, take care of some of the prostitution issues, drug dealing, and we just talked about taking guns off the street. But we seem to be vexed on this criminal crew of the ATV riders and not able to put a true concrete plan on how to address it. I don't have the answer, but right now I'm looking for the answer. And I really need to know what that answer is. Because folks, if you want to know where the ATV riders are, come to my neck of the woods. Come to Noonan, Connecticut Park on any sunny day, or Marino Park. I have 100 acres of woods. If you want to arrest those ATV riders, just put an officer on both corners, and guess what? You'll arrest at least 50 of them. Because they're running rampant in my neck of the woods. And they sure don't care about my neighbors. And I bought a Cranston and Johnston in my neck of the woods. Marino Park, we invested millions of dollars. Now I can tell you, my rec centers, they're doing great. I've been investing in my rec centers. They're going at full speed. My parks are full speed. I don't need these ATV riders abusing the people that want to use these parks. So if you want to know where they all are, I'll give you all a ride. So I'm looking for a concrete action plan. What is it? We need to give people the the assurance that we're really going to take this serious and then we're going to turn it around. Now, I am also concerned, Commissioner Perry. Commissioner Perry, you are the civilian authority of the paramilitary operations of the city. If your mayor is telling you he wants to legalize, this is what I think is interesting. We have criminal behavior that's been illegal, ATV riding, and yet the mayor of Providence wants to legalize criminal behavior. I'm kind of confused here. But meanwhile, it's not legal yet. So therefore, in case someday the mayor prevails upon the State House to legalize ATV riders up and down our streets and our sidewalks, we're not going to have a massive impact action plan on this. So I'm looking for you to commission immediately, not now. Excuse me, not yesterday, not now in 5 minutes, but by tomorrow. What is the action plan? I don't know what else you need to hear. So I'm looking to you to stand up and start doing this job. You have an obligation to do it. And if the mayor is wrong, you need to stand up to that policy. That alone has been detrimental to the city of Providence. And if you don't see it, by the fact that we're putting a foot patrol on a pedestrian bridge in downtown Providence to make sure ATV riders don't go on that bridge, clearly shows that the administration does take this issue serious, but just in certain neighborhoods. So folks, something's not right here, and those are the facts. Next, I would like to know about, are you going to take the governor's offer? And I know you mentioned on the neighborhood response program that they're offering, which is federally funded. It doesn't mean the state police are going to be walking our streets, but what it does, it can relieve certain aspects. Are we looking to, have we taken the governor up on his offer of having further complement our low ranks to help our Providence Police Department with this neighborhood response team? It's a yes or no question. Commissioner, you want to answer? Chief?
So I've met with Colonel Manny, and so yes, they have about $40,000 of federal money towards the neighborhood response team. It will not be the NRT in the form that we ran it years ago. It's under that federal grant. We've talked about using their assistance as it pertains to traffic enforcement in the ATVs. Yes. It's not a lot of money. That's $40,000. We'll run through that fairly quickly. But yes, we've accepted that resource and we can use it. This past Sunday, Colonel Manny and the Rhode Island State Police are dear friends of ours. We've had great relationships, and when we've asked for the assistance of the state police, whether it be public demonstrations, public assemblies. This past Sunday, we were very short in the workforce. We asked for 3 Rhode Island State Police, and he was very gracious and offered that, and we used them. So yes, we have in the past. We will continue in the future, not in the form of what Councilwoman Harris said to this point. That is not part of the conversations I've had with Colonel Manny. It will be in the form of addressing this very challenging ATV issue. And I can tell you, even though we've addressed organized crime and gang activity, and no one's done it better than us, including present gang activity, but ATVs is a challenge everywhere. It really is. In the bigger cities, DC, New York, Philly, and like cities of Providence, but I spoke at length with Colonel Manny the other day. We do have some initiatives and strategies I'd rather not share right here. But yes, and I think we can take a dive at it, and maybe we start in your park, near the Connecticut.
By the way, it's not necessarily my park, it's the People's Park. But if you want to find them, well, you have to go there on any day. Marino Park, Noonan Connecticut Park, Roger Williams Park, they're there. So just another note, I'm not looking to make those parks into ATV parks. We spend too much money making walking trails and making it a really wonderful place for people, families to go to and enjoy their time off. So we're not looking to make it that kind of place. So I do not agree with doing that. What I want to do is we need to take it back. As for the you said only 40,000 from the state police for the neighborhood response team. We have $110 million, I think, still pending in COVID relief money. And we can use that for anything. Can you suggest to the Finance Committee, to the council, ideas on how to utilize that to, as far as I'm concerned, to bring back community policing that creates empathy between our police officers and our constituents. And by the way, also, how can we beef up diversionary programs? So we need you, give us your suggestions.
My
So
suggestion.
we're looking for that. And by the way, if you're hampered, we'll figure out how to get you unrestricted, because my concern is, and I'm going to say this, Commissioner, my concern is I am concerned about bad policies that have created this situation in the city of Providence. So Chief, what, do you have any suggestions?
So my suggestions would be with that $110 million, let's start an academy right away. Let's maybe for the first time in many years, I've been open to the suggestion. I've spoken to the union president on lateral transfers. The quicker we can fill the ranks within the Providence Police Department so we can get back to what I feel is the best way to solve quality of life issues within our neighborhoods, let's do it. So I would suggest we use some of those monies for efforts like that, as well as the diversion programs that I spoke about. If we can take some of the burden off the police that not necessarily is our responsibility, but has been placed on us over the years. You know, at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night or 10 p.m. on a Thursday night, who is it? When people have an issue, they call the police. They dial 911 and ask for the Providence Police. And that's probably our greatest endorsement is 200,000 times a year, somebody picks up the phone and says, we need you. However, it's really not always our responsibility. So I think those monies should be directed at these diversion programs. And thirdly, these programs that we run. We can't run enough partnerships with the Institute and these other social service agencies, the YPI, the Youth Police Initiative. That's a fascinating program that we have data on that have yielded great success in youth in this community.
So Chief, could we prevail upon you to put together a true action plan on how to create a more comprehensive program dealing with bringing back, when I mean community policing, I'm talking about foot patrols and bike patrols and officers getting to know the community, being part of the fabric of the community. We're not just talking about officers in a car, how we can get that piece, and then also how can we, expand our diversionary program so we can go on both cylinders, right? We can start deal even more impactful on the social issues facing the city. And then also on the other end, providing the quality of life protection people expect.
So the answer is yes, this is fixable. We have solutions. We can put together an immediate or a 3-year and a 5-year plan to address these issues and get back to the police department that we know through proven success. We have the playbook. We have the template. We've done it. But yes, we can put together a strategic plan addressing now, shortly out, once we graduate November 6th, a 3-year out plan and an extended plan.
Thank you. And then Commissioner, I'm looking upon you. We'd like to see an action plan on this ATV situation. Working with Chief Clements, the state police. By the way, I bought a Cranston and Johnston, working with the Cranston police, the Johnston police, the North Providence police. Let's figure out how we can corral, and I call it this criminal behavior that's terrorizing our neighborhoods. We're looking for a real plan. I know the mayor wants to legalize it, but right now it's not legal. And you have an obligation on the charter, if I remind you, and I'll remind you, be charged with the responsible for the enforcement of all laws, ordinances, and promulgation and enforcement of rules and regulations of the police department. Right now, sir, before you on your desk is the rules and the ordinances that have been passed outlawing ATVs in the city of Providence. You have a charter obligation, legal obligation to put forward a plan and to address this. No woman, no person of any color, sex, sexuality, anything should be dragged out of any vehicle in the city of Providence by a gang of ATV riders. No council person, no chief of police should be surrounded by them. By the way, and they shouldn't be driving up and down like I see every day in front of City Hall. With no one putting them in check. So we need something now. We need you to address it now. need to give assurances now.
Understood. Let me be clear that not one time did I, on behalf of either the mayor or the administration, direct our police officers not to stop ATVs. It is illegal. It is frustrating that they do what they've done. And as I began, no one's more frustrated than everyone here, because we hear the complaints and we see them as well. I hear you. I understand my authority, but I want to make sure that this council understands not one time were our police officers directed not to engage the ATVs or scooters, not to turn a blind eye, not to just let them go. It's complicated. One officer is not going to stop 10 ATVs, and they've attempted to, and they flee. And when they do it, it's at a high rate of speed and it becomes dangerous. So I hear you.
We recognize the challenges you have. We recognize the challenges you have, but the people of Providence deserve
Understood.
Results and expect results. So
Understood.
the people the most frustrated are the people who do live in the city on a daily basis. The business owners also, by the way, and
Understood.
the visitors. We need to make people feel comfortable in our city. And I appreciate the crime stats. I want to say that. But I've said it, and I've been, Councilman Harris and I know, been around a long time, Deputy Majority Leader. Statistics don't tell the truth tale. If someone does not feel comfortable in their neighborhood, in their home, on their street, it doesn't matter how many times you toast, the crime statistics are down. I saw numerous commissioners and chiefs of police say the same thing over and over again, and the public demanded a response to what was going on because they didn't feel comfortable in their homes. So we need to make them more comfortable. Providence is a great city. There's a lot of great things here. We need to make the businesses feel comfortable. We need to make our visitors feel comfortable, right? We need to turn it around. So you folks have the position. You need to put together a true action plan, and we expect to hear from soon, tomorrow. What's the plan? What are you going to do? How are we going to do it? Let's do it. You're a state police officer. You handled high-profile crimes in your job there. If you could get rid of those criminals there, you sure as hell can get rid of criminals in Providence, right? So let's get to work. That's what we need.